Welcome to the Financial Freedom for Gen X. This is just a follow-up from our last video.
It is. So, hi, I'm Kirsty. This is
Stephen,
Steve.
I'm back again.
Yeah. Just to follow up from our last email. Video. There is so much going on around the world in so many different things. It's like we're not quite sure where to start. I mean, you'll see a lot of videos of people putting in their, 2 cents worth or their couple of dollars worth, really. So we figured, we're going to give our opinion on what we've been seeing. Steve's going to put his 2 cents worth in from more of a military perspective. And I think I'm going to put my perspective on some other things, more about futuristic looking for, because obviously our channel is actually about financial freedom and us as Gen Xers and our journey of our own financial freedom and how we're going to try and achieve it. So that's what I'm going to touch on. So, you go and because this is something that's obviously very passionate as someone who has been in the Australian Royal Navy and not just just sort of like at a home base. You've actually done a couple of tours. And you've truly represented our country. So,
look,
and also as someone who immigrated to Australia as well.
Yeah. So I'm all for immigration, but there's a correct process for doing it. My dad brought us over to Australia when I was 10 years old. I've been here since, and I'm considerably older now. But we did it the right way. We applied, we got in, and everything else. Refugees, I have my own opinion on that. And I believe that, depending on where they come from and et cetera, there is a plausible case behind it. But one thing I strongly and very strongly stand for is if you come to Australia, integrate to Australia. Okay? You're quite welcome to support your religion.
But don't bring your war with you.
Don't bring your war with you. Otherwise, I will say that, the Australians that I know of, and I know a lot of the expats and everyone else, is we're sick and tired of having to justify our position. So if you do something wrong in Australia, something criminal in Australia, no questions asked. And this is my opinion, and it's going to ruffle feathers. Yeah. Take it, leave it, If you swear at me, I'm not going to answer your messages. But I came to Australia properly. Our family came to Australia properly. We all work, funny enough, most of us work, Dad and my sister and myself all work in the oil, gas and mining industry. But if you do something that's illegal and you're not an Australian citizen, I'm going to swear, pack up, send them home. Don't jail them, don't support them and everything else. If you come to Australia illegally, detain and deport. If you do something illegal in Australia, detain and deport. There are so many people who are trying their utmost to come to Australia legitimately. Like we've got countries at the moment who are saying exactly the same thing as I am. They just hold considerably higher positions than I do. Yeah. The PM of Argentina has said exactly the same thing. He says, if you come to Argentina illegally, you will be detained and you'll be deported. And who's the other one?
There was the Italian Prime Minister. She got in and she's very blunt and she just said, look,
very vocal. Don't
come through the proper channels, then we're simply going to send you back to where you came from and come through the proper channels.
And the German police, if you watch in the media, they've had enough. If you hear about things that are happening in the UK and everything else, and again, I know a lot of expats in the UK and the US, they've had enough, and they're bordering on actually making a stand. And I support them 100%.
I think they are making a stand. Yeah, they are making a stand.
Because they're sick and tired of their country being taken over by illegal immigrants.
So here's a question for you, and I suppose everybody else has seen this as well. Selena Gomez, could have won an Oscar for her tears and performance and all the rest of it about people being deported. And what about the children of those people being deported? What's your What's your take on that? Because I've got my stance. What's yours?
My stance is they're illegal immigrants, deport them, whether they've got kids or not.
Well, from a parent's perspective, my approach would be, well, you should have thought of that before you did something illegal. The fact that, hang on a sec, if I get caught, I'm going to get deported. And I have a family here that require me here for love, support and protection. And so they elected to make that decision to go and commit a crime. But what about going through and making sure that people are actually vetted before they even come through? Like, I don't know if you can do if you go for a job here in Australia, you know, your employer can ask, and we did that as well. We asked for a police clearance check to be done. It costs you $50. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get employed. It's just that we'd like to know what it is that you actually did, kind of thing. So what's your take on that?
Relative to that, there's a lot of countries where you can't get that information out of because they're paperized. Don't have the technology that we do to monitor everything that we do. Even saying that, Australia state to state wise has a totally different policy, and we can't communicate with each other state, which is hilarious, considering the current government and everyone else and the systems and everything that we've got in place. But again, my rant. But if you have to have a police clearance to work in some fields, then I don't see why you shouldn't have police clearance to work, or police clearance to get the dole, or police clearance to get. And again, dole is another sore point. I've been unemployed. I refuse to go on the dole due to the fact that there's people who genuinely need it, and I've paid a shitload of taxes. And the taxes are what pay them. So have no problem with that happening, but there's got to be a genuine reason. And lifers who are on the dole, if they don't have a medical condition that's causing that to take place,
should get it cut off.
Then they should have it cut off.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's there to assist.
It's there to assist and to get you through a hurdle or something like that.
Yeah.
It should not be
a lifestyle choice.
Continual handout or a lifestyle. Yeah. It's like, again, I've done clearances. I've worked on sites. You know, relative to everyone saying, oh, but you know, these boat people come in, and you know, when they come into our waters, we've got to help them. Look,
they can still go through and apply for refugee status without coming through illegally. Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen, and like with our patrol boats up north, people throwing kids off a boat, people taking hammers to boats to make them sink once they see the patrol boat coming close to them.
That's planned.
That
is orchestrated.
Do you honestly want people
who could throw a child overboard?
Like, I don't care how bad this situation is, okay? Throwing people overboard and having one of our guys having to jump in the water to go and rescue the kid, whether the kid can swim or not, to try and get into Australia. This big, like, I've got goosebumps talking about this because, you know, it's a very sore point. But these people pay a lot of money to get onto those boats.
Yeah.
Okay, and those boats are a one-way boat. They're a feces-ridden, disease-ridden boat, literally. Like, they put that many people on it. How they got here, but I mean, like, you've got countries en route. They go past 6 or 7 countries that they know don't have a welfare system that's going to support them, and literally don't have a system where it's going to be a case of hook them up, tow them out into international water, and go bye-bye, and just follow them so they disappear. Again, I've seen it. I don't support what as military people we are asked to do, and I know a lot of the guys that do it don't support it either. But again, you've got powers that be who sit in their offices saying we're going to do this. You've got, you know, people making decisions on our kids and what we do with our kids who don't have kids. I'm sorry.
That's a pet hate for Steve.
That's a big pet. We don't have enough time to go down the rabbit hole, but
No.
I'm like, as a Gen X, I'm third generation military. My granddad and my great granddad have done World War II, Boer War. My dad, fourth generation, sorry. My dad has served as a major in the Indian Armed Forces, and I served in Australia. And so we've covered all three: Air Force, Army, Navy. So I have a very black and white perspective with a couple of grey bits here and there thrown in, courtesy of Kirsty. She's trying to teach me to look at the greys. Relative to people who don't want to integrate, then pack them up, ship them home. That's easy. And more to the point as well, because people who have an issue with people who import, who are coming to Australia legally and categorizing them into the same category, and this is one of the sayings, and don't quote me on this, is all Muslims are not terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. I know a lot of Muslims. I come from a country, being India, where there are a lot of Muslims.
Well, there was always a conflicting power play between them, wasn't there?
Yeah, but they still all lived, and they lived together. They had their areas and stuff like that, but they're still integrated into culture. India has a multicultural background. Australia has a very diverse multicultural background. But we're so busy bickering amongst ourselves with, I also know a lot of Aboriginal guys as well. I grew up hanging around Yothu Yindi, for example.
You're showing your age there.
I'm showing my age. And that's why I'm a Gen X. But I mean, I spent time at their house, funny enough, eating some really weird stuff, but hey, that's what happens. We're so busy bickering with each other.
We're probably, I think,
we're
the
not
most
focusing.
divided.
Yeah, we're not focusing on the actual problems, and the problems are we're having issues with housing. We're having issues with finances. We're having issues with integration and people fighting against people. It's because I don't know if we're feeding off what the government are pushing. Like I am very much at the moment. If I wore an Australian flag, I'd turn it upside down because I have no faith in the government.
You might need to explain what it means to turn the flag upside down.
So if you turn the flag upside down, and I will probably be corrected by a fair few patriots, it's a no faith in the government process. Irrelevant, Labor, Liberal, Democrat, whatever it is, it's the person representing Australia I have no faith in. And neither do a lot of people.
Well, the current numbers show that.
If you look at the pre-election...
He's not going to get back in.
If you look at the pre-election numbers...
Yeah.
Whether you vote for Labor, Liberal, or whatever, like I said, that's not the point. The point is we currently have an idiot who's representing Australia. And he has nil faith. It's very much like what happened with the US. But again, different scenario. So that's my rant done.